G'day, guys. Welcome back. This is episode number 59 at the BS Machine, and have I got a epic episode for you today? I've got a guest on, and I'm just going to forewarn you: if if you don't have one foot in the spirit world, then I reckon you should push stop now and just move on. This dude that we've got on the podcast today is such a fucking legend. I met this guy. His name's Jay. And I met him when I did my teacher training back, I don't know, it was like 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was, maybe even more. And we immediately connected, and we've just stayed in touch through the years. And we live in different countries, but we've stayed in touch. And I already know that this conversation is going to take us to a few really fucked up places, and I'm super excited. And if you guys are avid listeners to the BS Machine, you would have heard. I think it was a couple of episodes ago. I had the head of epidemiology on the podcast from one of the major hospitals in Australia, and we heard one side of the story. So on this side, I'm going to go into the different side of what's going on around the world at the moment, and I guess from a more, I don't know, a more energetic or more spiritual side, if you want to call it. And I'm just going to forewarn you that you'll probably hear stuff in this episode and in our conversations that might trigger you. But what I would suggest is that you just come into this podcast with a totally open mind. If you freak out, good. If you don't freak out, fucking just as good. But I want to introduce my guest today. He is a biologist, a medical scientist, and this guy has definitely always had one foot in the spirit world. But it sounds to me like maybe he's jumped in feet and hands. But his name's Jay. Jay, welcome. BS Machine.
Hey, hi, Tommy.
How are you, brother?
Happy to be here, bro.
You too. I'm really excited about what we're going to dive into today, man, because I was actually quite apprehensive about bringing you on because I know we're
Yeah.
going to touch on some pretty weird stuff, and I've also committed with you that I'm going to stay very neutral, and just go into what it is that's sort of going on around the world at the moment. But I think we should both be mindful of the people that are out there in terms of our conversation, and let's go for it that way. But dude, Jay, such an honor to have you on, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Tommy. I mean, I'll try to be tactful for sure, but my commitment is to the truth, however I perceive the truth. I don't want to hurt people, but also I don't want to censor myself too much and bullshit and beat around the bush.
Of
Yeah.
course. I mean, I'd never expect you to. So yeah, please don't censor yourself. Let loose.
Okay.
This is the BS Machine, so we tackle all sorts of cool shit. But yeah,
Okay,
so
great.
man, so give us a heads up. So what's what's your take on what's up? Like what's going on here? Like
Yeah, what's going on? I mean, for you guys in Australia, it must be so intense and so heavy. Like nothing seems real anymore, yeah, in this world. Like every day you get new information, you get new energies coming into your life, and you're like, wow, what is this? What is this? It's like we've been battered since a year and a half, and all our what seemed to be true before seems to be crumbling around us.
Mm.
Like even this idea of democracy that we've had. Big shifts, basically, from I think what your listeners need to understand is my connection mainly is to the, how would you describe it? I don't know if they're familiar with Akasha, which is basically another word for space, but it's become Akashic Library in the New Age movement. But it's not exactly Akashic. I think the best way to describe it would be like like the crystal knowledge of this planet. So the real knowledge, the real library of this planet. And so
What do you mean
somehow I
by
have
what do you mean by library?
like a knowledge, like the memories,
Mm.
the memories and the stories, shall we say. And so if you connect to this crystalline memory, of course, in school, you're taught that crystals are are quartz or whatever, like diamonds or rubies, and they're inert matter, that have been formed in the crust of the planet. But they're actually not. A lot of them have a lot of intelligence. I wouldn't call them like living beings, but they're part of a polarity, which is basically one of the most important on our planet. And this knowledge has been erased. I think like we see the world and like what's going on in the human world as a really like a freak show right now. But I think in a sense it's good because it's woken a lot of people up that actually we were living in a lie all this time, just an open air prison, with basically manipulation, control, deception, institutionalized in media, movies, governments, education, even science. Now we realize which is supposed to be neutral. Yeah.
Yeah.
Science has become paid science, basically with an agenda, not to further the truth or to basically discover how to better live in this world, but basically to push an agenda, which has really, really dark motives. And we can talk about this later. But I think just to give the context of what's going on, if you accept that this is Teletubbies world where with democracy and human rights, and you have your freedom protected by the Constitution, and that your government wants to help you and basically nanny you, and that most of the world is good, most people are good, and this is a good system, capitalism is good, and everything that we've built around around technology and like political structures is good, then you won't really believe what I'm going to say now. Because what I'm saying is that this system has always been very dark. It's been basically controlled by really, really, really intelligent people at the top. And if you go up the pyramid, you could say that the Rothschild, the CIA, Davos, Bill Gates, all these people are just middle management. Like at the top of this prison or this dark planet, fallen planet, I would call her, is for not fallen angels. This has been a manipulation also. It's for fallen dragons, not angels. And this is the key to understanding this world, because dragons have a specific connection to the crystals.
Yeah.
So
okay. So before we go down into dragons and all that type of stuff, like I see you wanting to. I feel you wanting to go down that path straight away, and we will.
Yeah.
But but I think just to sort of bring people in line with what you're saying. I mean, one thing that I think a lot of people would agree with is that we have definitely lived most of our lives in this generation in a way where politicians and governments, it's almost like something that we don't have to deal with. It's like something that it just happens. So most people there is some people that are like, no, I'm liberal or I'm Labor or I'm this or that. But I think that there's definitely a thing where governments and the political agenda has been something that's been really on the side, where it's like, nah, you know what? If I get involved, I get involved. If I don't, I don't. And I think that's what's happened now is that they've suddenly come into this authoritarian fatherhood role, where it's like, all right, if you don't do this, you're fucked. Like, we're going to control your life.
Yeah.
We're going to control this, control that. And regardless of what else is going on around the pandemic, that's definitely one thing that's really happened, where you're sitting here going, holy shit, like these guys are actually going to start controlling my life. Like, this is fucked up, And what I'm really noticing around the ignorance of not even myself, I've been so ignorant of what's been going on. And I think one thing that I'm definitely noticing is that ignorance has been really pulled up to the surface, so there's a lot of people right now that are asking questions and saying something doesn't fucking make sense. It's just,
I know.
there's something there where you're like, oh, it's not, I get it. There's a pandemic, there's vaccines, but whether all that shit, you can go down the rabbit hole, but there's something going on that doesn't fucking make sense, and I think first off, before we go into dragons and crystals and stuff, I want to tackle. I want to see, what you perceive or what you're assuming is sort of going on there.
But what is telling you that it's something fishy is going on? Your intuition, no?
Exactly.
Yes. And so intuition, like in Sanskrit, is called ishtabala. So it's the strength of your inner deity. So what that means is basically your spiritual connection.
Mm.
And so what I've noticed around me is that most spiritually connected people have smelled the bullshit from the start.
Mm.
And the ones that don't really have it, or basically the ones that are compliers or do not want to get into harm's way, or who also believe the narrative, it's easier because you don't have to rebel, you can just comply. And then even though you smell there's something fishy, it's like, abused kids, like that make up excuses for their parents, or abused wives,
Mm.
like, so you go into denial, you basically blind yourself to the red flags, and just accept every compromise leads to another compromise, which leads to another. I don't know, like maybe at the seventh booster, if people are not dead by then, maybe they'll wake up and,
Mm.
join the dots finally.
Yeah.
But this element of you and I think many people are feeling, especially more and more now, is basically the spiritual connection.
Yeah.
Your connection to this planet, to the crystal, and to the source.
So you're
This
saying
is
the
what's telling you.
crystal and the planet are one thing.
Let's say the light of the source comes via the crystals in this planet.
And are we talking?
Like,
Are we talking actual crystals? Like, because I just want to make sure
yes,
that in
physical.
people's heads they know what you're talking
Okay,
about.
okay.
So the crystals
Yeah,
that
okay.
you're talking about, actual crystals that we would see, like amethyst and rose,
Yeah. So
emerald, all that type of stuff.
So there's 14 major crystals on this planet. You could call them the organs of our planet. But all of us also have an inner crystal just under the heart. It's called the Ko. And strangely, the virus is called COVID.
Mm.
So Ko in the language, you could call it the language of crystals, like Sanskrit, the Krit. This is the crystal connection. So Sanskrit, the songs of the crystals. And so this language is still available in this library, of this planetary library. And having had access to it, it allows me to decode a lot of the manipulations. It's huge, man. You don't realize how much our language especially has been manipulated. When you say organic, you close the organic energy. I'll talk about this later, but this is one of the sneakiest manipulation. Even our technology, technol, this word, it's also not a good word to use. Antarctica, it closes the purple crystal, and this is connected to Australia. I can explain it later why.
So wait,
But
so
you wanted to come back?
So on
Yeah.
that, what are words that would be the opposite?
The mantras that open the crystals.
Like?
So Amarita, Lam, Mula.
Yeah.
Mula opens the silver crystal. So every time you say Alum, Alumni, Jerusalem, Illuminati, you close the silver crystal.
Yeah.
So basically, if you accept my premise that this is a fallen world controlled by fallen dragons who become demons, 4 is a good number to control a world. They basically made a consciousness prison, like where basically people are relatively happy. You give the peasants a few toys, you lower the wars and the death rate, and then you feed from their crystals. You make them forget everything about the crystalline structure of this planet. You even change the name of the planet. Our planet name is Yara. Yara. Not Pachamama, Gaia, blah, blah, blah. Her name is Yara.
Yara.
Just repeat this, man. Connect to her. She's beautiful. This is why these fuckers are on this planet, because she's so special. They want to control this planet, to use it. So what you do is you basically control the humans, the movable crystals. So she has fixed crystals. We are the movable crystals. And you control, first of all, their exterior. So you're going to control their senses. You're going to control what they eat. GMO, whatever you eat now, goes into your system. You're going to control their mind. This is the sneakiest part. So what do? You manipulate the religions, especially the desert religions. What you do? You manipulate education. What you do? You manipulate languages. So all this manipulation is for control. So you control their exterior, more or less. Netflix, Hollywood, I don't know, all this cultural, you know how much it's pushed, this transgender, binary,
Yeah.
whatever, like how much it's pushed on society. This gives you the agenda that they're looking, which direction they're going for. So once you've controlled more or less the external, you make the peasants believe that they live in a free society. You allow them to go on holiday, and life is more or less okay for the rich ones on this planet. So it's basically ignorance is bliss. Yeah. So you alcohol. This is what blocks your heart crystal. So you push alcohol a lot. And what you do, then you go and you try to control their interior. And how do you do this? Well, this is what's going on right now. So there is polarity in nature. And so you have particles and then you have wave. And so the virus, the COVID, the SARS is the signature of one of these demons.
Yeah.
Anything with sac, like massacres, vaccines. This is his signature,
Yeah.
Aztec. He was the god of the Aztec, the fake god of the Aztec. Sacrifice. All this is his signature. So basically, you use the wave to attack the crystal.
And when you
Anybody,
say,
like I've been...
when you say you use the wave, who are you actually talking about?
The people, well, they're minions. The people who release these virus strands,
Yeah.
and different strands attack different parts of the body. Different, but they're not natural. They're not from Yara. They're made by these guys. So the problem and the supposed solution is from the same people, the same darkness.
Yeah.
So they release the viruses and then they create the vaccines even before they even release the viruses. And so then they enforce all this mental manipulation propaganda non-stop for a year and a half. And then these restrictions of freedom because they need to have these things inside your body.
Yeah.
That's how they can control you. If they can control you, and even worse, maybe terminate you, but if they can control all the crystals on this planet and they've got control of the major crystals of Yara, then what that does is they can use her as a base. So this kind of, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I was just going to say, this is where I get a little bit stuck because let's say, for example, if I'm listening and I've been vaccinated, right? And I've got 2 jabs or whatever, and I've been vaccinated. So if I'm a listener and I've been vaccinated, I'd be sitting here going, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like there'd be a sense of anger in me because are you saying that if I've been vaccinated, then I'm basically gonna die? Like
no, I mean, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
But you've done it to either comply or to be free or whatever. But you've enslaved yourself by doing this.
See, with that, I definitely agree. I mean, most people that I speak to that have been vaccinated, but most of them are saying they did it because they had to work, and I actually feel empathy for them. But then the funny thing is I feel just as much empathy for people that haven't been vaccinated because they're getting all this fucking pressure. You know, it's like relationships are going to shit, friendships are going to shit. And so there's this really fucked up divide going on between the two.
Yes.
And
but you know why? Because this is the end of a cycle.
Yeah. That's what it feels like.
So, yes. So, I don't know. You could call it a Ragnarok if you want. The end of times. So you have to rise to the occasion of Ragnarok. You have to be brave when the Ragnarok comes. And this gives you the opportunity to do this. Are you strong enough, to follow your intuition, your inner truth, your inner crystals, or will you comply and just follow? Like the choice is, sometimes is out of ignorance for a lot of people. And I feel really bad, but what is really cool is that we're doing remedies that basically can purify. And you know what the key element in those remedies is crystals, crystals powder. And also one plant called Philodendra monstera in homeopathic form. So these two together can purify your blood because have you ever seen a study of what's inside these vaccines? Like a proper third-party neutral study of the adjuvants, of the proteins, of the metals inside? I haven't.
No, no. I mean,
Yeah.
even if someone sent it to me on email, I'd probably be too scared to open it. Yeah.
Well, there's a woman who does a bio blood analysis, live analysis. It's not really an accepted form of scientific method, but like visuals are always useful.
Mm,
And so you can see the degradation of the erythrocytes, the red blood cells. You can also see the appearance of these new, I don't know what they are, nanoparticles.
yeah.
And so I recently got like a electromagnetic reader from the US, a very intricate and perfect, how do you say, precise one. And so you can measure the electromagnetic field of the planet, yeah, which is a baseline. And then you look at unvaccinated people, and they're almost similar to the
Mm,
planet. Then you check vaccinated people, and the closer you get to the injection area, the stronger the EMF field now,
mm,
much
yeah.
stronger. And so that gives you a set of data to measure. Like you can see actually that something is different, which none of these pharmaceutical companies have told you about.
Mm,
And so the scam, already you can see a little bit of it on this EMF measure. I want to measure biomes also. So basically, fecal matter from people that have been vaccinated, and see the changes after how long, after how many shots and all that. But I think if you've had the jabs, you can still purify your blood
yeah.
if you accept that you've made a mistake, if you take responsibility that you've been scammed. But if you don't, then you can blame me and blame all the anti-vaxxers and call us fruitcakes and like cowards or whatever,
Yeah.
like this is Ragnarok. This is when truth comes up. Apocalypse in Greek, it means the revealing of the secrets.
Of the truth.
The secrets are coming
Yeah.
up, and the secrets are fucking dark.
Yeah.
It is a dark world.
Yeah.
We know it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as you're talking, certain things that really land with me, and other things I'm like,
Mhm.
nah. Do you know what?
Okay.
No. But that's just me personally, because I haven't actually, and I'm guessing most people haven't really dived into the extent that and but one thing that I think that, well, not one thing, but one of the things that I genuinely believe in my life and in every human being's life is that once you once you decide on something and you trust you trust your intuition and you trust that gut feel. I mean,
Mm.
mate, any sort of magic can occur once you trust
Yeah.
that inner crystal, as you
Mhm.
call it. Um,
Yeah, and a lot of people, for example, are afraid to lose their job.
yeah.
But this is where you got to trust that if you're doing the right thing, the planet will take care of you.
Mm,
Like this is where fear and courage come in, you know?
yeah.
And I think a lot of people have submitted to fear.
Well, look, and I don't want to talk badly of any sort of human beings, or I don't want to judge people,
No,
but this is more, it's not a judging, it's more of an empathy from, I guess, from both of us, where,
that's why I'm doing these
yeah,
remedies,
totally.
bro.
Yeah.
It's because I want to help.
But what I'm seeing is that when this whole pandemic began and the vaccines came out and whatever, everyone was like, "Nah, I don't think I'll be doing that." And then slowly,
Mm,
so I think the main problem with the planet and the human beings on this planet is that we've been conditioned to our the ease of life. So
mhm.
and one thing that really fucking really got to me was when people started saying, "Oh, well, I can't go to the pub unless I get a vaccine." So they go get a fucking vaccine so they can go to the pub and go out for dinner. It's like, dude, what sort of a fucking reason is that? Like, I get it if you want to get vaccinated because you trust it, you trust the scientists, all beautiful. But to go and get this stuff if you don't actually want to, but to do it, to go to the fucking pub and to have some dinner or whatever the fuck, like, man, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is where, and this is what I like what you said is that you know, it doesn't mean that if you've been vaccinated you're going to die or anything like that. That's not what this is about. But I think it's a really important time, regardless of being jabbed, not being jabbed, to fucking stand up for what we believe in.
Exactly.
Stand up
Exactly.
for our own
Exactly.
intuition and have this. We need more kings and more fucking queens that live on this world, and that's what this is asking us to do. This whole situation, what I believe is, it's not about have you been, have you not been. It's more about fucking stand up, be a king, be a
Yeah.
fucking queen,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
own it. Whatever the fuck it is, but own it. Like,
Mo- Most people thought they lived in freedom,
mm,
but you were not born into
no,
freedom. Now you realize
mm,
it. And so, do you want to fight for your freedom? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And most people are so used to a bourgeois kind of life, that they're ready to move into digital servitude, like have them control their income, universal basic income, have them control their vaccine passport bullshit, have them, like, you guys can't even leave Australia.
no. Well, you can now if you're
So,
vaccinated.
all right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. We'll take it.
Yeah. But it is,
Uh,
it's, one of the big aha moments that I've definitely had over the last couple of months has been around what freedom actually is, and how we
mm,
thought we lived in a free society, free speech and free
mm,
this and that and the other.
mm,
It's been totally different, and it's
mm,
for me, there's a big part of me that's fucking scared of what's next.
mm,
Like, there's
yeah.
this fear in me of I'm like, I'm looking at the segregation and I'm seeing it. I'm looking out into the world and I'm like, how the fuck are we going to get through this?
Did we get this?
Like, what the fuck? Like, is it like part of me is like, in order for us to actually start a new world, or to start again, or to you know to diminish, or not even diminish, but heal what's happened in the world, it's almost like
Mm,
part of me feels like we're going to have to just fuck everything off and just start again
yes.
in
Yes.
communities living off the earth. I'm like, it's extreme, but I think, part of me is like,
Yeah.
that's probably what's going to happen.
Everybody feels it. Everybody knows it.
Mm,
This is the end of the cycle.
yeah.
It's the end of a really, really dark cycle. And if you want to come back to what you mentioned earlier, like, this is what one of these fallen demons does. He gives you a lot. He's basically the one who controls technology. Like, his crystal is a cube. It's a dark cube, and so he always gives you a lot in the beginning. So we have all this technology, this democracies, this 50 years, 60 years without big wars, and then he takes it back.
Mm.
It's always that way. So he gives you iPhone, you can connect to your friends, it's very useful,
How
but
good
then
are
you become
iPhones?
addicted to it.
They're so
Yes.
good.
And then he starts to control and restrict more and more. He takes it back until you're fully under his control.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's go a little bit further down the rabbit hole. So,
The dragon
the
hole.
dragon hole, sorry. When you're talking about demons and when you're talking about,
Hmm.
I mean, this is, I, I'm just assuming. I mean, I've done energy work. I've been a Reiki healer, all that type of stuff.
Hmm.
I've been down that path. And when you talk about, um, you know, demons and shit like that, like, I mean, what are you actually fucking talking about? Like, are you are you saying, like, are we saying that is a demon like an actual, you know,
Entity?
is it an entity? Is it energy? Is it an actual
Yes.
person,
Yes,
like a
yes.
human? Like, what?
Yes, it's a soul. Yeah, yeah, it's a soul.
It's a soul. Gotcha.
Uh,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Same like you, same like me,
Yeah.
same like a horse or a fish.
And is it
Just
is it in a physical? Is it in a physical form?
physical form. If they want, they
Hmm.
can. But they are fallen dragons, so they're connected to crystals, and most of them live inside crystals,
Yeah.
the major ones. So
And when you say
one of them
fallen
is the
dragon, are you saying that
yeah.
it's a dragon that was good that became bad?
they always had the darkness in them, these particular four of them, and they chose to go fully into the dark. Like, for example, one of them, Lucifer, which is not his real
Yeah.
name, but he controls your country, by the way. And so he's the one who has both black and white inside as a waveform. So he can go fully to the light, and then he helps humans. And then he can go fully to the black, like he has done for the past 100,000 years. And he really fucks us up.
Yeah.
And he really, he's very smart. He's also a magician. He's the magician of ether, the fifth element, the akasha that we talked about. And so this one moves all the time. Lucifer moves all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
From darkness
so
to
if you
light.
want to talk about them, well, he's in the, no, I mean, he moves like physically around this planet.
Gotcha.
Like he doesn't stay in one place. Yeah. The other ones were more fixed geographically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. So, and what about, so, because even last time when we had this conversation around dragons and, you know, just, you and me just had a chat off, like when we weren't recording, but, you know, I'm really intrigued about this whole thing around, you know, what you talk about with dragons, because, and I remember I asked you, I'm like, have you seen a dragon? He's like, dude, yeah, I see them all the time, you know, and I'm like, do you now? You know, and I'm yeah, because I've never seen a dragon, so I'm super keen to understand, you know, and I guess I'm asking from a place of the larger community. I mean, I've seen some really weird shit in my time. So that for me, I believe that to be true because I have seen some crazy shit in the work that I've done. But in terms of the larger community, I mean, what are we talking about?
We're talking about very primordial beings. I mean, everybody loves dragons, yeah, like everybody in any culture, and almost nobody has seen one. So that gives you a clue. Basically,
You've seen one.
you could say that, yeah, you could say that the first beings created with form, yeah, the first beings created with form are dragons, fire beings. From this first beings created are a fractal of so many species, so many dimensions. But you could say, like, in form, dragon is the source, is the primary archetype. This is why we all love them. And their language is the one that activates and can modulate these crystals and these rays. So this planet is a rainbow normally. This planet is very, very special. And so normally we all live in harmony. With nobody says yellow is better than green. Nobody says blue is the direction. We all live in harmony in this rainbow world. And dragons are here to help this harmony. Like not these primary dragons, but further dragons down the line, you could say. And even the manipulation was to say that in the Bible, at least, or some of the Middle Eastern sacred books, is that the angels rebelled. You know, angels rebelled, and basically darkness came after this. The Elohim, they call them.
Elohim.
First of all, it's not the real name. The real name of angel is Saraphim, not Elohim. They manipulated that also. And so then the ones who rebelled were the dragons, 4 of them. And so 4 to control a world. And so why it's so dark in this planet is because there are 4 of those 15 primary dragons. They are the most powerful motherfuckers you can find in the 14th dimension. And somehow 4 of them landed on this planet. And so you had the number 6 dragon, you could call him Satan. You had the number 9 dragon, you can call her Lilith. You had the number 13, you can call him Lucifer. And then you had the number 7, you can call him Moloch or Baal. But he's gone. So there's 3 left. And so
and they're the fallen dragons.
Every one of these dragon, huh?
What about the good dragons?
They're here.
Yeah. So if I was
they're here. This is why it's a Ragnarok.
And so if I was to, I mean, and I'm not being a dick, but if I wanted to meet one of these dragons, how would I call, or how would I meet one of these dragons?
You could go where they live, you know, like there are places where they are kind of like portals where they come into this planet.
Mm.
Remember, they do not originate from the third dimension, so they're basically above the god realms, like what the Hindus and Buddhists call the Deva Loka are the god realms. But if you go further up in subtlety, then you reach a point where there's no more form. It's just the light realms. So they call it the Arupa Loka. Arupa being form, Arupa being formless. And so just at that border are the dragons. So they come from there, and so then they come into this planet. Like red dragons come generally through China, but the crystal there was taken out, so China is completely disconnected from its spiritual source. This is why it's become what it is now. You can have a lot of dragons in Indonesia, Papua, Central America, Yucatan, Pacific Islands. Where else? A little bit in Greece, Russia, Central Asia. Certain areas have more dragons than others, but they're all different colors.
Mm.
So if you go to Ibiza, for example, there's dragons in Ibiza. I'm sure you're familiar with that island.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the ones in Ibiza are purple.
Yeah. Yeah. So, dude, you know what? Someone like you who's a very super intelligent man, like you are, you're very intelligent. You've
Oh, thank you,
no, well,
thank
you
you.
are. I mean, you've got a number of different degrees.
Ah,
Biochemist. You're a body worker. I won't say what sort of body worker, but you know how to manipulate and work the body, and but you're also a highly intuitive guy, which is very evident. What what is it that made you go down this fucking rabbit hole?
I think it was my mission. I'm here to work on the grid, really the crystal grid. This is my mission, and this is why I've done so much meditation practices, retreats, but I thought initially it was to reach enlightenment, but it wasn't. It was to prepare myself to be able to do this work I'm doing now.
Mm.
And then when this whole COVID stuff started happening, somehow I sensed the planet's anger. Somehow, not the human anger, the planet. And it came through me, and it made me want to act, not react, not wait for the next the next restriction, next bullshit. The good thing about this lockdowns is that a lot of people did some research while they were stuck at home.
Mm. Yeah.
Certainly, yeah. I would tell people like 3 years ago, hey, this world is controlled by really dark forces at the top, and the values, even this eye that you see in the dollar is a black magic symbol. They'll be like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, go back to fucking paranoiaville. But now the same people are asking me for advice. And even before the vaccines were out, like at the beginning of COVID, I said, guys, this is to start vaccination probably in a year. Don't take it. Oh, shut the fuck up, you conspiracy theorist. And now they're asking me for remedies. Oh, I wanted to travel. I had to take it. Like, it's not my fault. No, we always have a
Yeah.
choice. You chose to take it. And so, take responsibility. And I have the remedies to help you. So I'm doing this now because I realized that it's very difficult. Like it's on purpose. This kind of confusion, this kind of like nonstop media battering with like so many confusing information from many directions. People don't know what the fuck is going
Mm.
on. Like, is it like is COVID really lethal? Is like the hospital like who to trust? You realize that your media are just prostitutes. They're not there to inform you. They're here to further an agenda. At least I hope that people are clear on this. And if you're not, then okay, go ahead, follow and take your 15 next boosters. But if you agree that the media is not there for you, there to help you, then you have to look for information in other ways. And so for me, I decided to ask the planet directly. That was my main shift, shall we say.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and even as you said that, I I myself just connected into Earth, just as you said that,
Mm,
just through my feet and just
yeah,
connected into Earth.
yeah, yeah.
And
Her name is Yara.
Yara,
Don't call her Earth.
Earth,
Don't call
sorry,
her Gaia.
Yara.
Bullshit.
I'm
Yara. Yara.
connected into Yara, and immediately when you connect in to to the the simplicity
Mm,
of
the crystal.
the it's beautiful, man. I mean, it almost brings up
Yeah,
tears, and it
yeah.
begs you what it asks you to look at from the sense of simplicity is that when we're in connection with our truth, and when we're in connection um to just the beingness of
Mm-hmm.
creativity and magic and life, then
Mm-hmm.
none of this would would be around.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't equate. So even though they're saying they're trying to, with these the vaccines and whatever else, they're trying to bring things back to normality. Is that true?
But normal was fucked
I
up.
know. Yeah.
Anyways, we just didn't
Yeah.
realize how fucked up it
Yeah,
was, you
so
know?
it doesn't matter which way we look at it, we're moving to a whole new way of life.
Exactly. This was a dark, corrupted world,
Yeah.
really dark, but we couldn't see the darkness. I mean, kids were being sacrificed all the time in all the places you think would be holy. Like there's machines that are created to parasite this planet. Why? Because it's really dark entities at the top that control all of society, all of humanity. And so even technology, with those crystals, we have a lot better technology, which is actually in harmony. Like everything, like you're using like technology right now. We're using technology
Mm.
to talk, yeah? But that requires energy. And this energy is required by either breaking down coal, gas, oil, nuclear, uranium. And this produces so much waste and heat. But true energy of Yara with her crystal does not produce heat or waste. This is only happens when something rots in the forest.
Mm.
This is when you get heat and waste. So even this technology that we're using and we're so like, wow, so amazing. Well, it's corrupted. It's not part of the spiritual blueprint of this planet. Everything was turned upside down. The worst religion and languages used to control us. So we don't need a religion. Nobody can say, hey, I have the truth. It's in the Torah.
Yeah.
It's Allah. It's fucking Jesus. This is the truth. Fuck you, man.
Mm.
Nobody can be a spokesman for nature. She is herself the sacred book. She is herself the only religion, the rainbow. And this is where we're going back to. But because this is so fucking dark now, this planet needs to be a purification.
Yeah.
And she has so much love, man. She's incredible. She's a princess soul. She has so much love that she even accepted these four fuckers like raping her for 100,000 years. And what we do in our capitalist system, most people, like they have these shit jobs, like that basically just make millionaires into billionaires. And they don't question it. When they do question, the culture, the gestalt tells them, if you can't run fast enough on the hamster wheel, then that's your fault. If you're not rich like us, then that's your fault. Bullshit. This system where the few rule over the many, the people with capital rule over the people without capital, this is the values of these dark guys at the top, not the planet. The planet is not about this. The planet is about the rainbow, community, harmony, love, living like every day, like high on MDMA, man. Just like using all the rays of the rainbow. Like it's really, we've lost magic. This is why they deleted magic. Like this is why they deleted any knowledge about the occult, because they rule this world through magic and occult and technology. This is their two ways of really controlling this planet. And so they don't want you to know about this.
Mm.
So they erase it. They fucking burn witches. That's what they did. 3 million of them in Europe in the Middle Ages. So then it's gone.
Yeah.
You can't, you don't have this knowledge.
Mm.
And so what you do, you go on, you become an influencer on Instagram now. That's where you put your energy.
Well, I've seen. I mean, I reckon magic's still around. I've seen a bit of magic in the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks. Definitely seen some magic last. You can't say magic's gone. It's not, surely.
Well, the high magic, like moving from one crystal to another physically, like moving, teleporting,
Yeah,
this is gone.
yeah,
Levitating, this is
yeah.
gone. Like you can still have a bit of telepathy depending on, your soul. But all this, if the crystals are reactivated, this will come back.
Okay,
We'll
so
go back to the original.
yeah, so let's talk crystals with look, there's a lot of people that use crystals, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, heaps of people use crystals, they use like rose quartz. I've got fucking crystals all over my place here. Um and so in order for us to move forward, what I mean, what do we do? Is there certain crystals that we should be working with? Do we get certain crystals? I mean, is what do we do here? Like, give us a bit of
I think you could first of all figure out which rays you're connected to, like which colors are you, um, which shape of your crystal you have under the heart and behind your third eye. So that's called the core under the heart, the key behind the third eye.
and how do you
Once you
find that
know
out?
your rate, yeah, and this is the million-dollar question. I think you just have to explore, like try to feel, and I think in general the same energy which told you that there's something fishy going on, in the world with this virus thing. That same energy can also tell you who you are in a crystalline
Yeah.
fashion. Because also, like out of those 14 major crystals, seven are now active. So you can connect to them, and it's affecting people a lot. Because the major crystals are the power station of all the mini crystals. So when they're black, everybody's black, so it stops them from raising their frequency and their vibration and their consciousness. It keeps them in the prison that this planet has been for 75,000 years.
Yeah.
So after that, you can use your own crystals. I mean, crystals are also like people, so there's some with more like intelligent, more bright, some less bright. It doesn't really matter the ray, but like you could say that blue crystals are like, let's talk about the major crystals of the planet. It helps you understand the mini crystals. Okay, so the first one, you could call it the white quartz. So he's very thin, very long. It's in the Himalayas. So that's basically the connection to the source. And so dragons with white color are usually the ones connected the most to the source. And so this one is about love and wisdom, shall we say, like mainly wisdom, yeah? And so white quartz, okay? And then you move on, then you go to the second crystal, which is a red ruby, giant, huge, the hugest of all crystal. And this one is in Altai in the Russian Federation. And so this one is about fire, blood, magma, felines, falcons, rhythm. And so this is the ruby, yeah, fire. And so this is the blood of the planet. Then you move on to the third crystal, and this one is yellow. So that one is in Yucatan in Mexico. And so it's also big. And this one is more about creation, about the hands of the planet. Then you have the fourth. This is the lunar, the silver one. This is under the ocean. It's not active yet. It's been one of the worst damaged and corrupted of all the major crystals. That's why female have suffered the most in these past thousands of years, because these guys have attacked the female crystals and the female rays the most, not the masculine ones. And so this one is about sound, frequency, healing, mermaids, the moon. Like the basically this kind of energy. So pearls are kind of crystals. Pearls are crystals
Yeah.
in a way. And then is this too long? Like
No,
going through all the
no. I mean, I'm sure.
crystals?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, look, this is what I reckon. I just think, like, one of the things that I definitely think people would love to hear is, what do we do?
What do we do physically, you mean?
What do we do? What do we do as a community? No, actually, fuck community, because no, and I'm not being an asshole, but
Yeah.
I, I mean, to be honest, 99% of human beings are so fucking selfish So when people say I'm doing things for the community, nah, I I I find that hard to believe most of the time. But g-
But are they selfish because they were born selfish in their soul, or because the environment and this planet and the systems and the values made them that way?
well,
This is an important
it
question.
is, it is, and what I mean by selfish is that first off, I'm not saying that there's not people out there that love helping and giving back to the community or all that type of stuff. That's a given. But when it comes to our body, our life, I don't think there's many people that would give up their own health or their own life in order to serve the community. So where I was going with it, so not as a community, but us as individuals, what first off, what
Okay.
can we do for ourselves to maybe even quicken the process of getting back to
Hmm.
not even getting back to
Back to this rainbow.
or getting to a place of the rainbow or getting to a place of
Well,
freedom.
first of all, I think is basically looking at the situation clearly for what it is, like not beating around the bush, like basically seeing that our economic system is fucked. I mean, we tried communism, that was also fucked, but capitalism is also fucked. It's not sustainable. I mean, this is the reason why they want to wipe out a lot of those useless eaters. But you look at our political systems also. You basically, this has been a dream of so many revolutionaries, to change the world, change the way we live. But now it's brought upon us. And so I don't think that normal will ever come back. But it's okay, because even though you were comfortable, normal was really fucked up. If it wasn't really fucked up for you, it was really fucked up for the planet. And so, what we need to do is to go back into the orbit of our planet and just function, serving her, loving her. And the way to do this is to basically reconnect to ourselves first. And how you do this, everybody is different. Everybody's a different color. So everybody has a different path, a different function. But figure out what your function is, figure out what your particle, your structure, what crystals you have, how many branches. Are you number 5 branch or number 7, number 12, number 14? Like nobody's more important than the other.
Yeah.
So we're all acting together.
So wait,
And
so on that,
yeah.
is there a certain type of practitioner or someone that we can go see in terms of the
I mean, I've been helping a lot of people around me who are not able to see their colors and their crystals,
mm,
and I found out that a lot of times, like for example, if you have black in your heart crystal, you catch COVID.
yeah,
If it's broken, you cannot connect to certain animal spirits that are connected to that color, and so usually. I would say before you want to help outside the community or the planet, help yourself first. Like try to basically heal, and to heal, first of all, you got to want to heal, and you got to see it, and a lot of people are in denial about it.
big time.
If you've caught COVID, you probably have dark in your crystal.
Mm,
So it's, COVID is like it's almost like it, like I realize who my brave friends are and who my less courageous friends are with this COVID situation. The same thing, like it's the ones who are pushing to get vaccinated or not, like it makes me realize that yeah, where do I belong in this mess?
mm,
And now I see.
mm.
And I think initially the work on ourselves, finding out who we are. The second step, which is huge because it requires balls, is to live it,
Yeah, yeah,
to be it
and
in a dark and collapsing world.
yeah, and that's the thing is that that's the real courage, isn't it? To be able to live it, because
Yeah.
to be able to live your truth, you literally gonna have to live for some time with the darkness of the world.
Hmm.
You
And your own inner
and your
darkness.
own inner darkness. You have to live with that, and that takes fucking strength because that's going to bring
And this
up
is where, yeah.
because that brings up anxiety, that brings up fear, it brings up you know being alone, the fear of being left behind. it brings up helplessness, fucking unworthiness, all that type of stuff. And you have to learn how to navigate through those things because that will pass through.
Yeah. But you know, a rainbow world, it needs brave
Yeah.
souls. And this is where your strength is, Tommy. Like, you're not afraid to be authentic.
Mm.
A lot of people are,
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
especially in the spiritual community, you know?
It's
Like,
crazy. Dude, do you know what? I'm
yeah.
actually there's a big part of me that we've sort of opened up back in Australia and yoga classes are back on. But there's a part of me that's like, oh, I actually don't want to go to a yoga class because I'm worried that the teacher there's going to talk about some fucking we've had this and that and talk about all this spiritual shit. I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
no one needs any more of that talk. It's just like, let's just fucking do yoga. Let's just get
Uh-huh.
into the body, get into the breath,
Uh-huh.
and feel. Because ultimately, there's so much noise out there, isn't there? And that's the key thing that I'm getting out of this conversation is that regardless of the noise, whether it's light, whether it's dark, whatever the fuck, you've just got to trust what's going on within you. No one's going to fucking help
Exactly.
you. No one's going to give you the answer. If you're suffering because you chose to suffer, and you've got to live with your choices. Exactly what you said
Exactly.
before.
And you know, there's two main reasons why you're in the bullseye of this fascist agenda. One of them is they didn't want you to see certain things. They wanted to lock you indoors so that you would not go outside to see what's going on physically, which is basically a lot of UFO related stuff. Most of the most of the aliens, they don't have a good agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, like, so they are incredibly smart, incredibly telepathic, but zero soul.
Mm,
The higher the the like that's how we're developing this planet. The higher the technology, the lower the soul.
mm,
Like, the high aliens, they don't need these spaceships to come here. You know, they can just teleport here. So basically, this was one of the reasons. In the center of your country is a huge nest of these aliens who work with your government at high level, but your government is under orders of a superior government, anyways. And so this is connected to Antarctica. Even the word Antarctica is to close the purple crystal there, whose name is Kartika. And Kartika is beautiful. She's deep purple with a white in the center. And so she is also infected by all this gray reptilian,
mm.
you know, like Hermann Goering went to Antarctica. Admiral Byrd went to Antarctica. The English royal family, John Kerry, like all these people. What for? You know, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And so if you accept that this world is not run by the people that you think you've elected, then you can see a little bit of the dots connecting. And so Australia is one of the big dots also because it has Uluru. And Uluru is huge. We talk about our planet Yara. Well, the main connection from the surface of Yara to the core, and the core is crystalline. I know the scientists say that it's lead, that it's molten something in the center, but actually the core is crystal. And so that connection to the core crystal of Yara, it comes out through Uluru. And so, you know, technology of Yara is all crystalline. It's all rainbow. So when she wants to reset a grid, a crystal grid, like you could call it the meridians of the human body, then a snake, a rainbow serpent comes out of the core
Mm.
and it gets colored by all those different frequencies of colors and then moves around the planet. And this is real technology. This is technology in harmony. And some people say, oh, giant snake, blah, blah, blah. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not physical, but it is real. And it does create a new grid.
Mm.
And so Uluru is one of the reasons, the second reason you guys are so fucked.
Yeah.
And so, you know, now you're opening up, but don't worry, you'll close again.
Yeah.
I mean, worry. Don't expect this. You know, it's just to release a little bit of steam. And why? Because people comply. People still believe that their government wants to take care of them.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh man, what a well. You know what? What's in the way that that you're seeing the world? What's next?
Well, you have to be careful because, like, talking, I mean, I've asked the planet what's going to happen. Yeah. And so I don't want to empower these prediction by verbalizing them also. So there's different timelines, and it depends on all of us. But for sure, this darkness is gonna lift. So you have to be strong for the next few years, but it's not gonna be rosy. And I think I don't want to get too much into it, but let's talk about after this upheavals. It's gonna be a green planet. Back to the original blueprint, man. Like communities, like green, like so magic, man. We're dancing, we're making love, we're like playing, we're using the crystals, where magic is coming back. And you know what? Women are finally happy.
Mm.
All the women on this planet connected to the planet because they've been disconnected, like through magic, through technology, with basically like an intent to disconnect them. Religions have fucked them up a lot. And so what we have in this future planet is happy, happy women. And if you have happy, centered, connected women, nothing can go wrong, bro. Like they are so much stronger than us, you know, like it's gonna be magic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I definitely agree with you on that. Women are very powerful, very, very powerful. And you know, I was sort of telling you a little bit about that before we jumped on the call. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going through a bit of a journey with my beautiful girlfriend at the moment, and fuck, what a journey! What a powerful woman she is.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I'm definitely feeling that. But yeah, it's happy wife, happy life, huh?
But you know why also? Because our planet, she's a woman.
Yeah.
She's not that old actually. She's quite young. But she's a woman, but she's very special
Mm,
compared to other planets.
yeah.
If you would go to Mars, and most of these fuckers that are organizing and controlling this planet, their human minions believe they come from
Mm,
Mars. And so they're all about the masculine. Like if we were in Mars, it would be a different crystals, it would be different rainbow.
yeah.
And so our rainbow is female.
Yeah. That makes
And
total
I
sense.
serve, yeah, and I serve her.
Mm,
This is like beyond anything that life can throw at me. I serve her,
mm,
only her.
mm.
And this is my path, but this is my crystal, you know, my colors. This is what I do. And so everybody has to find their own path. I'm not a guru. I'm not, you know, like I just have a strong connection to the crystals, and I can see a little bit of the context of everything that's happening. And this is the first time that I talk publicly about this actually. So
Because you're scared, yeah?
scared.
No, as in like that there's a part of you that not thinks, that's apprehensive about talking about this stuff publicly because
Yeah, yeah. Because I know how triggering this can be for people.
mm,
And I know that people, especially in messy situations, can become quite violent.
yeah,
And so, and I have other work to do than to deal with this kind of reaction.
yeah.
But I'm writing a book. It's called The Return of the Dragons.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
Have you finished
And
it?
so I'll no,
No.
no, no, no. But I laid out all this, of course, much more intricate information in depth in that book. But you know, you're going against the political systems, the economic systems, the religion, the
Mm,
languages, like the cultures, and you're saying it's all bullshit for sure. This is not going to be how do you say?
an easy ride. Yeah,
Yes, but like I said again, my commitment is to the truth.
yeah.
And you know, truth in crystal language is called core.
Core,
Core.
core.
Yes,
Mm,
the core, like the core of the planet.
yeah. Love it, man. Oh,
Yeah.
so good to have. I know we could keep going and going, but I just think that we've we've definitely covered exactly what the people need to hear, and I really admire your level of commitment, not just to yourself, but to Yara.
Yeah, you're gonna join me, bro.
Yeah, no,
You know it.
yeah, bro,
You know
for
it.
sure, for sure. And look, it is, and it's a bit saddening and a bit disappointing that you can't that I can't sort of advertise who you are or say to people who
Mhm.
you are, and that is a worry in itself when you're speaking the truth, and there's a fear there that that you're going to be hurt if you're fucking speaking the truth,
I mean, that's what happened to Socrates. I mean, I'm not at the level
No,
of these guys, but all the people who've tried to go against the flow, they've been shut down really
yeah,
fast.
yeah,
And so what you have is, like manipulated truth now in this world.
mm, mm. Yeah. Well, there you have it, gang. There you have it. What a conversation that was. What did we say we're calling it? Going down the dragon's hole. Is that what we said?
The rabbit dragon hole,
The
yeah.
dragon's rabbit hole. Yeah,
Hmm.
done. Awesome,
Or
brother.
whatever.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for all your insight. Really great to have you on, man. And
Hey, thanks for the invitation, bro.
yeah, and the next time we chat, we'll be able to actually, maybe it'll be Return of the Dragons will be New York on the Rainbow Sellers #1 list.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thanks heaps for coming on.
Hey, big love, man.
See you, dude.